always tell young pitchers is if you want to be a good pitcher, you have to be a good thrower. So pitching is just like playing catch. I'm up here on the mound, and there's a catcher that's in a crouch behind home plate. That's no different than if I'm playing catch with my dad in the backyard. We're playing pitch and catch. So, like we talked about with the throwing mechanics, those same mechanics are the same mechanics that you use when you pitch. So make sure when you're playing catch that you're focusing on them. Another thing about being a pitcher with regards to mechanics, you have to make sure that you're warming up properly, you're going through the routine. A lot of you young boys like to throw curve balls and all these different kinds of pitching. Those types of things aren't going to be good for you when you're a pitcher, because what happens if your arm's hurt as a pitcher? You don't get to pitch, right? So if your arm's hurting you and you don't take care of your arm, then you won't be able to pitch. You may be able to play right field, you may be able to play shortstop, because you're only throwing maybe twice an inning, but in pitching, if your arm is hurting you and you don't take care of your arm and you don't practice, play catch and warm up, then you won't be able to pitch. As far as mechanics, here are some things that I'd like to talk about that I feel are really important. Number one, I believe at this age, and this is one of the reasons I believe this is because I was taught this way, is we should be going from the stretch. Unless you have a ton of experience, unless you're getting close to that, 8th grade or high school level, I really believe that the stretch, and what the stretch position is, so everybody knows, this would be the windup. The windup is when you start like this and you go through your motion, step to the side. The stretch position is when you start with your shoulders aligned to home plate and the catcher. Your feet are slightly wider than shoulder width apart, and you simply just bring your hands together and you get into a really comfortable position just like this. Now, the reason I think that the stretch position is much better for this age group, and when I say this age group, we're 9 to 13, even up to 13 I believe in this. You are going to be able to repeat the things that I want you to repeat in the stretch position more consistently than in this position. A lot of you make the mistakes, pitching mistakes, before you even think about releasing the ball. All the mistakes happen here. I go to Little League games, or I even go to lower level age group select teams, and I have 9 and 10-year-old pitchers stepping way back here, expecting to get their foot back into this position, swing their leg around, and then get into what I'm going to talk about first here is our balance position. Who's heard of balance position? This right here is the first thing that we really need to be concerned with. After we go in the stretch, we get into a good routine. So we come set, deep breath, we come set, and then we're going to get into what we call a balance point. When we get into the balance point, I want you to think about getting your thigh, your leg here, like a tabletop, flat like a tabletop. I also want you to think about letting your foot relax. So just let your foot dangle underneath your knee, and we get into this position right here. Everybody, I think, has a cap on. Yes, we do today. Everyone touch the button of the cap right here. You see that little button right there? So when I come up to the top, my leg kick, I want that button of the cap right over my right heel. So the button of my cap is right over my right heel. That helps us. Some of you may know what the word posture means, but it keeps us aligned. A lot of young pitchers, when we kick the leg up, our head goes back or my head goes forward. We want to get into a good position, balanced position, just like this. My shoulders should be aligned, correct? That's one of the rules we've covered in throwing. So I'm coming up set, I'm in a good balance stance position. Once I go, and I'm going to keep this really basic because of the age group we're working with, when I decide I'm going to go towards the plate, I'd like for you, and the older players, you can get a little bit more aggressive with this, but I'd like for you to bring this foot down slightly, almost like you're bringing your foot down right where it started. And then about halfway, I want you to try to stride out straight to your target and be aggressive. Don't worry about overstriding, because I can tell you, for every 100 pitchers I see, maybe 2 overstride. But there are a lot of boys that understride. So really focus on being aggressive and striding out right at your target. As this is going on, we've gone through our arm circle. We should be doing what with our glove? What do we say with our glove? Pointing the glove or pointing the elbow, either one. And once our foot lands, and we use this example here, once my foot lands, I'm going to be in what we call a power position. And this is something we're going to work on today. So I'm going to freeze this. So I just went through my motion. I'm going to freeze this just like this. I'm in a power position here. And once I'm in my power position, now I'm driving off my back leg. I'm going to get to my release point, which is really important for throwers and pitchers, because that's going to determine if the ball is going to be where I want it to be thrown. I get to my release point, then my back leg. This is something that even a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old, you boys can focus on this. I want to try to push off the rubber. So push off, almost like a sprinter in a block would do, push off. And I'm going to let this back leg go nice and high up in the air. So I'm going to throw, I'm going to tuck my glove, and I'm going to let this back leg go nice and high in the air, and then I'm going to allow my chest to get over my front knee. For you guys that are students of mine, how many times do I tell you that? Hunter, how many times do I tell you chest over knee? Right? A lot. Chest over knee. And my pitching coach in college used to say, and it's okay to be over aggressive. If he was standing right here with a water bottle, could he set that on my back and would it balance? You see that? Don't you think it would? Okay? So that's the type of aggressiveness you need. Some things to avoid in this last piece. Don't keep your foot glued to the ground. That's a really popular thing for a young pitcher. Don't let that leg just stay stuck in the ground. Also, don't just do this. This is called, I call this the lazy backside. You pitch and then you just kind of go like this. Try to drive off, and we're going to practice power position to help you with that. Another thing you want to try to avoid when you pitch, never stop your body or back up. We see this a lot. I'm the pitcher, right? You see that sometimes? Make sure, like a car stops at a stoplight, it slows down, right? It doesn't slam on the brakes every time. It doesn't certainly go in reverse. So we're going to decelerate, and then what do we get into? Good fielding position. For safety, make sure that you have your glove tucked so that when the balls hit back to me, I can field the ball.